to Own Credit for Refugees, so please go and check her out during the break. We've also got Safi. Where's Safi? There she is. Safi is going to be collecting, she's going to be collecting money for making up the money for this room that we just made. And she will be giving you the newspaper. It's something, I mean, we've got copies of the Socialist. People would like them. Yes, if you would like copies of the Socialist, but also if you'd like to make a donation. Yes. Exactly, yeah. So if you'd like to make a donation to make up the what we spent on renting out this room, that would be very lovely as well. Then we have got Palestinian magazine from Naomi. Naomi, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, some of you probably already seen Palestinian. Okay, this is the first copy of Hot Press on Friday, second edition. It's a free resource, and it's been produced by an independent group that hardly people who are professional journalists, layout artists, and so on. And they're not really meant for us, so don't want people come along and say, yes, I'll have one, that's interesting. Lots of take batches. So they're going on the stall, then handing out on High Street, football matches, and it is particularly actually almost professional standard free newspaper about both times. Only then come out with people in the year. So we've had the winter edition. Now we've been not much better than we were before. So it's spring edition. And if you want to do your group, we can get stuff sent out in a big batch. Very exciting, that would be useful thing.
Okay, so the layout of this hustings. So first of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm Amelie, I'm a Your Party Surrey volunteer, and I live here in Woking, so thank you all for making it to Woking. So yes, if you need to go to the bathroom during this hustings, it's just downstairs, right in front of you. So we wanted to do a completely in-person hustings because I feel like we've been seeing all the candidates online, and finally we've got the chance to really see how they are in person, scrutinised by us in person, and also whoever gets chosen is going to have to do a lot of public speaking in the media. So I think it's really important to see how they do with public speaking as well, as it is a public-facing role. How this event is going to work is for the first hour, we'll have candidate introductions followed by 2 questions answered by all the candidates. Then we'll have a 10-minute tea and coffee break. And the second hour will completely be questions from the audience. So that's your chance to ask each candidate every single question that you had. The timings will be 2 minutes to answer the introductions and 2 minutes to answer each question. And during the audience questions, the candidates will have 2 minutes to answer each of those as well. So without further ado, I would like to start with the intros for each candidate. So candidates will have 1 minute to answer their full name, pronouns, which southeast town you are from, slate indie status, and finally the top priority for the next year as a CEC Southeast representative. As of course we know that the CEC will be revisited after 1 year. So can I please start with Naomi Wimborne introducing? Thank you.
Thank you very much for organising this. So I'm Naomi Wimborne Greasy. I'm living near Folkestone, hence, and I'm standing, I'm not part of the slate, but I'm in your private architect slate on which Max is also a member. And you don't have any question on me.
No problem. So,
okay, we definitely need a mass socialist party in the country. Starmer and his team have taken over Labour and shifted things so far to the right with a huge void opened up. Obviously, the Greens are there. Lots of people who should have come to us, have not come to us because of the difficulties that your party experience. We need to find our way back to fulfilling that role, mass centrist party. So that means we've got a lot of difficulties to overcome, and I think one of my priorities is to be the person in the room who will be collaborative. There's basically going to be a collective leadership that both the members said they wanted, and there were signs that the people currently running stuff aren't really interested in that collectivity, with many of the people going in. I don't want to go into policies at the moment, we don't have to work on the program. One of the roles of the CDC will make sure that the members in their branches have facilities they need to build locally, to do campaigning work, and to have their input into how policies will be going forward. We'll fight the right in elections, but not only in elections, but in the movement, not just the electoral party. Thank you for that.
Thank you very much. Now we have Jonathan next.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jonathan Osako. I am standing in the southeast from Lao, and I'm an independent candidate who is standing under no faction and no slates. So, in terms of priority, I would like to say that the first thing that I would like to say is that we need to prepare for the local elections because we voted to stand candidates, and if we don't stand, not only will this be a national embarrassment, but not standing could attract scrutiny from the election committee. So I believe it is very important to stand. Second of all, the reason I'm standing is because as the youngest person within the CEC, I wish to bring the perspective of younger people and the struggles that the younger people face within the community. So one of the examples would be youth unemployment. So youth unemployment is about 3 times that of the national average. So that is something that I aim to get into CEC and create an opportunity for the youth to get involved and discuss about that. And finally, I would like to thank every one of you who have made it to here. Some of them came from really far away places like Brighton, because I know Southeast is a massive region. So, once again, I mean, I know that, the fact that you are still committed to your party means that you're some strong class fighter. But once again, I would like to thank everyone.
Yeah, thanks for making it. Thank you, wherever that you and stuff. Today, my name is Armstrong. I'm a veterinary nurse, or I have been in the last 10 years. Prior to that, I lived up in Scotland. I studied maternity. I've always, I think, had social views. But more and more recently, I found that I'm finding it almost impossible to watch things or read the things that I'm feeling frustrated or upset. And I thought, I just need to get involved, take action. My priorities, I was like, is really to advocate for everyone, not just members, your party members, but in the community, especially, and see what matters to them, and try and, prioritize the issues that they care about, and also, stick with core values that we set out when we first, like your party, first taken into consideration again of, not getting involved with so many wars or not selling arms, to other countries, but just wanting to live their life, just putting the public, certainly back in public hands, yeah, yeah, just caring a bit more about people rather than problems. And
Okay, I'm saying that I'll probably do like this. Matt Shannon, finance and on election, I used to spend my own time here in London when I was with my grandparents to this, so I know the town. I really that nuclear. But the reason I'm standing is the one reason I'm listening. It's literally 850,000 people signed up and registered interest with our party with their promise ranking them out, mass socialist party work, which gigantic lever popular mobilisation that all sections of the exploited effects and find so today for the change. This party has to be the radical way to know this. It is not instant. The task ahead of us is really quite simple. For the past, I don't know what it must be, coming up to 9 months, since the park was founded, the way in which members have been treated, the fact that branches have been recognised, the fact that data has been passed on to them, the fact that they have no problem but that which they can raise themselves. Signals really the task at hand, which is recognising those branches, getting members organised, and looking out this review. One of the key tasks of our party moving forward is to recognise that look, the working class ain't produced working class identity is incredibly strong in this country. But its relationship with the reality is somewhat different. So you have to kind of trigger a process of class formation, turning the working class into the class, into the self. And that's the problem with our style about moving forward. With the elections and CNC, that's what we're doing. Thank you very much.
Hi everyone, my name is Hilary and I'm pronouns are she, her. I'm an independent candidate from Worthing down on the south coast. And I'm founding hopefully my own record of winning the time for the southeast. I know the campaign was fun, a lady council first time ever in Worthing, that's from social manifesto. I'm the only candidate with British Trade Union endorsement, my own union, the Basis Union. And my priorities for these really are to get branches recognised and build those structures and put it in place. That means setting up structures which will allow us to get access to data, finance, those skills, so that we are really skilling up as proper community designers that build power in their team. And secondly, full transparency. I think it's really important that we get together the financial statement policy as it is, where that is, as well as data, making sure all of that is time to release fill up our branches. Also for us to now be on the road to being an outward facing vehicle to change. That means having conversations with trade unions, other affiliate partners to really build what we want, which is really wide movement across the left, as I said, for change. That was working towards elections, but also their community organising. Because I really think that building power in our community workplaces is what sets all parties apart. So we have, as Ian said, not ground the green, but I do believe that we will be fundamentally party, and that's where our power lies in that part. Absolutely, again, we make sure that it's widely accepted in WhatsApp. Is that okay? Thanks so much. So next, we have Stephanie. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm so good. We are very nervous. I think that's good. The reason I'm down is I think that's before how if we're thinking about let's say that's what over I think so for example, just have on experience with the apartment is we went to kids, therefore another reason how so our apartment have not windows that show the change start. So if we look at the concept of we're saying we want to talk about what worth considering might it have been more beneficial if we had workouts finance first into action our branches and have given the members the time and space to think about what they want from their work and then have to analyze that which they
So that would be my priority. That's largely admin. Everyone, my name is very Captain. My pronoun is Shiva. My family part of family. And I'm around the word going to think so priorities are, well, there's so many. We were just talking earlier, we can probably each other's speeches by now. Two things for priorities. There's a lot that will be some of the full candidates that will get in touch with in place, all of the practicalities that have to happen, to run a political party. I have a friend who's involved in, working with the Green Party, who said they've got 7,500 documents that they're reviewing through this year. That's just the government bit. That's not all the other stuff. That's not the bank, in finance. That's just the stuff we do execution. So after I do some of this, we definitely do public facing. I think we have how that works. Some of the things say putting that in the conversation, we don't be out there. But some will need that still. I'm running with my running mate Shirley Ryan, who isn't putting something, it's nothing for disability to me. It's absolutely, but she's an exceptional quality writer. She is exceptional in the room advocating for one of the community. She has skill sets that we need, but where this kind of structure is about. So that is really the thing that what I'm really passionate about embedding into that 13 years is making it a fully inclusive space. I'm partially sighted. There's 101 different tiny little values that I face that I can usually overcome, but not always without a bit of support. And that's why I'm on the many campaign, and that's why Shelley is and speaks up everyone and you have experience that face with about this. So creating, if we can't create that fully inclusive place internally, we can't get out. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Yeah, I'm Hannah, and my pronouns are Super, and I live in Brighton. I'm standing thanks to problems. And the reason I'm standing is because of the skills I have in supporting so many member-led organisations in the past, mostly through development and then more lately in climate and in socialist circles. So I was a general election campaign for a campaign for slaves, and from there we have basically built, kept building, now have very good in terms of priorities, I would say if I had to pick one priority, it's definitely about how we do every member, potential member in our localities to plan. So what do we need? We need to communicate with each other, resources, we need to support. We may need some standard documents in England, standard practice, code conduct, and the ability to share our knowledge, share what we do, and to bring together all the ideas that we want to build globally, rather than social stuff, your sector, right, have a listen platform. We're running now, and what's your life, what you like, what are the barriers to doing that in the job? And that's just one of many ideas, and then we want to organise music, food events, or talks and reading groups. So I think it's about the membership and new ideas, new capacity, and that's what I bring is how you organise that, how you support that, how we learn to bring communicate with each other. We've got a challenge to stay together. This is really important to start with that. Thank you.
So now for our first question submitted by your party Slough Proto Branch, very similar to some of your answers so far, but if it is, could you please elaborate? If elected to the CEC, how would you ensure that ordinary members' voices genuinely shape the party's direction? This is 2 minutes each, and we will start with Matt Shanley.
Cool, thank you very much. There's various things we need to do to make that an actual possible event. The first thing is that we actually need to get in on the business of setting branches up, get them the funding that they need, providing them with data. But then we also actually need to look at the structure of our party, how it's organised, and why it functions at present way it does. It's not actually that the party functions the way it does at the moment, because it was designed to be a fundamentally top-down view. So one of the things that myself and I was in some on the wealthy press slate with pledged to do is something not to the press, and what a real look at how our party should be structured and why it should be structured. Not series of purely practical processes, but what is the actual political aim behind organising in such a way, right? Because if you don't democratise your own party, you can't democratise the state. You can't democratise the state, you can't democratise the economy, you can't democratise the economy within the countries.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm going to get Captain.
And yeah, thank you. So I think one of the core things about how the process works in this policy. I don't know how many of you come from Labour Party background, but I don't want any member to ever have the experience with it where we fought on the Green Deal for 3.5 years, battled on it, not slept, campaigned in our unions, debated at conference, had the largest longest meetings ever held, past the conference and all the elation of that, and we have it stuck in a bottom drawer by the Labour Party. We didn't want any your party members to ever feel that. So it's about empowering people to have their policies, ideas heard, flashed out, rated, and a clear vehicle for that. We're already halfway there. I sometimes think nobody's read the documents for the conference of what has been voted on already in place around member submission. And there's an enormous amount in place. We've just got to make sure that it's upheld, that we do what we promised to do. And then the other side of it is building. Yeah, I mean, I won't talk in specific structures because we're all that. We all have the same answers on that. But we need to build capacity. Right now, it's a vacuum for the volunteers. There's a reason it's next. Everyone's doing something for the first time. So we need to build all of that capacity. When someone says, I want to do better, great, we'll help them.
Right. So the best way, in my opinion, to maximize the voices of the ordinary member is to construct a your party that is based upon a federal structure. So that means we need to have strong branches where the party must be branches led. And furthermore, the branches need to have the ability to make decisions on its finance, policy, affiliate, as well as affiliation with union and movement. So in order to do that, we also need to consider the factor of dual membership. So according to what is being voted in the conference voted to accept dual membership, and it will be up to the CEC to decide which party would be accepted as allowed. And in my opinion, I believe this process should be democratized. So that means we should have an elaboration process of consulting the branch member directly, asking them which party is considered aligned to them. And then we should have a democratic process to see if all the other members agree to this approach. And so in order to do that, I also believe that the final thing that I will leave it as that the CEC should reflect the image of the member, meaning that the CEC should also have more initiative to encourage further diversity rather than just limiting it to gender, which also includes factors of ethnicity, neurodivergency, disability, sexual orientation, and sexual identity. Thank you very much.
I think it's really important because you have member and the rest and checking that. Yeah, So yeah, I think that Jonathan, that we should be really clear on, that we support people from all backgrounds, from all, whether they're LGBT, whether they have autism, disabilities, but everyone's going to support someone else's, and when we do it on events, and even I think with organizing these events around the election, I think we can do a few things where we just have to make sure all the events are inclusive, accessible, and that we're not only advertising them in private WhatsApp groups that only certain people can find. There's certain events that I didn't even know are happening as a member, and I would have liked to go to, even just to see the other people speak. Yeah, and to make sure that we're, putting it on Facebook, Instagram, we're postering, we're going on the streets, we're going to convenient groups, and making sure all the information is out there and everyone has a chance to be part of. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you. Yeah, so fellowship absolutely at the heart of the get the first line and the school and hopefully start to do data and bringing up to bring on the surviving branches are very restricted to people that are going to actually rent. I think it's from Japan. And then we need to build clear and transparent processes, the policy building, so the policy is coming from those branches and from upwards. Local members know their areas, and what I want to see is the policy is built something on the ground and coming directly from those members. And lastly, I think we need to talk about accountability. We need to get away from this feeling that members are being managed on sort of all the people in the sky. No, if I get anything much sense, I'm being back. But yeah, so accountability is obviously really important, and that goes for CPC members. The right of recall is going to be extremely important, but it also goes to elected public on as well. So we need to build something where all levels of authority, call it that, are accountable to the next and things that demonstrate that are really Thank you. Can you just repeat the question? Of course, yeah. If elected to the commission, how would you ensure that ordinary members will genuinely shape the party's fantastic, yeah. So firstly, we're a very diverse group, so I'm talking about how we ensure that everybody's voice is heard. So if we think about making sure that we're super welcoming and open and transparent generally to all sorts of different people. So we have to demonstrate our solidarity with people who are facing depression, particularly people who are facing kind of wedges and still are trans-Pacific brothers, black minoritized people, refugee migrants. So, but anyone who's facing oppression, you're welcome in place by demonstrating that. We have to support and enable self-organising in identity groups, but also across the geography across our regions. So it's about being a learning organisation as well, and learning how to challenge our own internalized oppression, consider our unconscious bias, not assuming that homogenized groups thinking have the same views. We have to understand neurodiversity, how it includes language, and that's a very ongoing process that we do collectively in branches. And part of other activity as well, facing outwards. And the quality of our meeting in assembly places has to be inclusive and accessible. You'll have to learn what that means and take the leadership from groups that are going to tell us what they mean. Communications and ensuring that that's really clear, both internally and externally. And I think that there's something about a regional assembly going forward. And so we're not just going to have annual conferences. We want plenty of opportunities to come together in local areas in the region to really share our learning, and build our solidarity and build our connection with each other. Because we have a massive fight on our hands. We all know we're here because we want to challenge this rotten system. And we're going to get attacked with. We need to build our common connection and our relationship. We want to know each other so that when those attacks come, we can stand by
side of wind farms, and we want people to see that everything in well, and yeah, yeah, I agree with pretty well everything that have just said. And it's actually those things like this, and we don't know that we meet so many brilliant people, and I think that only two are going to be on that scene. So one of my priorities is to build in ways to explore on strengthen, develop and nurture the talent and skills and experience and the networks we will have. So that's really important. How do you do that? Looking at some of the pros and advantages, I think it's really a shame that they haven't been already empowered, and that's not a good thing. But this isn't a conference work and drawn from what people start to already really seeing and wanting to do with their own experience. We have lots of people talk about one member, one vote, as if it's the ordinary of democratic processes. It has its function, probably for an election like this, where it is an alternative. If you use online voting, you immediately exclude. I didn't realise there's a couple of million in this country. But lots of people who just don't get it, we don't use that system. We need to say in councils, we're saying regional, local, small scale, rural, urban, all kinds of things, for all kinds of people. We've got to make it inclusive and accessible. And that means no one else behind. We have to understand the solidarity with everyone facing things like women, and so on. And I find that it's really important because it's not just how we build certain parties that require that, it's how we find that require it. Because we don't think so hard and kind of things like that, happens trying to do. But once it's done, it's easy. You have to show people that we are inside out and we're in yeah, that's fine. I said, okay, well, I think it's been like point maybe done now. And finally, is that not really that. So I'm social worker, and when I have no idea what I think should happen, but it's only so I actually keep that, that I understand that I'm saying so. We want to know how best and we need to make sure that that's still it's not enough to say, for example, people coming back to this, because it's not that any one of us who belongs to this, what is it that we are actively doing when that applies? They really want to say how many barriers there are, how many people are taking, what are we doing within our part to the plan that what are we doing to acknowledge that some people want to give themselves to what we have. But when we want to understand how what I'm doing, shaping that's when we can find that.
Yes, round of applause for the candidates. So that is the end of question one. For question two, we have a question submitted from your part, sorry, photo branch. How do you plan on mobilising support for the local elections in May? This is again 2 minutes, and we can start with this one. Okay, let's start with Max Shanley, please.
So you have to decide what your approach to local elections is going to be. There is there's two things there's one that thinks that we should just have a kind of static approach where we run candidates absolutely everywhere and see what sticks. There is another tendency which I identify myself with that thinks that we need to have a much more target like based on evidence and actually based on the level of strength that we have within local area, so we can kind of stack on the way. We're just gonna link our own demobilisation. So rather than say let's run 2,000 candidates, we should probably run 5, 600. And we should run targeted campaigns. The candidates were chosen by the local party initiative.
Next, with the performance study.
Yes, I think this is one of the areas where maybe I think there's that communication trail that is just not really working that brilliantly at the moment from the top down. One of the things we all voted on is allowing them to run and where they're already established in surrounding country. We're all at different places, aren't we? There's some places they've got incredible actually set up. It means they would be in a position to select candidates if that structure is there. But it isn't there. There's other places where that isn't happening, or there's 3 or 4 rival branches that say, no, we're the ones that make all the decisions, not them. So there is a really tricky situation. But I know both Sarah and Jeremy have been really busy going around the last few institutions with the independent group, where they've already been running for the years. We've got this in Banbury, we've run independent candidates. This is our 5th year. So those candidates have sort of been tried and tested, and we've got Grace in the half of this time to run as independents, not under a wide party banner, because we haven't been scrutinised by either party yet. They might still say at the end of it, no, actually, you don't fit the criteria to be a councillor if you're in that seat. So I think a lot is happening, it's just not being communicated very well. I don't think we're going to run this one. I would love if we were, I'd love if we got there and not. I think next year we're in a very position.
Thank you, Amelia. So, before I start, let me tell you some of my first-hand experience of what I see going on across the country locally. So, just a few weeks ago, I was in a meeting in Ealing, and there was a room, about the same amount of people were in the room. They are all already decided where to stand as councillor as independent, and they are all members of your party. So I spoke to them, I asked them, what do you think about your party? And the voices they got is kind of frustration about the fact that they cannot stand as a your party councillor, as well as being disappointed that they are not receiving any support from the party. And don't forget the fact that we have more than 50 councillors who are already aligned with your party understanding. So what we have to do is that I believe we do have to make sure to defend all of the councillors that is standing, as well as supporting all the councillors. And I believe currently, with the current trajectory, we need to spend about 3 to 4 million in the local election. And currently, with our current ability, we can only get about £1 million. So that means there's a 2 up to £3 million gap. I think we need to make sure that we can provide every candidate with the funding necessary. So even if we need taking a loan, I think we still have to stand in the local election. And of course, at the end, we still have to cooperate as both in the conference independents as well as other aligned parties. They also did that in Ealing, where they align with the Green. So I think that's something that we can do as well. So at the end of today, in order to really win the local election and secure council and gain influence, we do have to listen to the people of the community. So open an open forum, ask them what are the grievances, how do you think they can solve that? Let them speak, and then we will write them into a policy platform locally, so then people will want to support those candidates. Thank you.
Yeah, so mentioned the friend will party as much as the can. I think we should something well quite even from the process, I think we're going to party last year. I'm amazed by how many amazing left wing influences are out there, the work they're already doing, what the good brands are already doing, and I think that we should. I've seen that there's 91 seats in the region, and I think there's definitely many more than that in the area that I represent parties. I think I kind of ask people around me, friends, people in the community, what is like that maybe what green, like what is stopping and they're very like people what is I asked them what is stopping people your party, and a few people said, oh, it's all the argument, the infighting in the within the party that's putting me off, and it's very disorganized, and there doesn't seem to be a united front really. So yeah, it's yeah, I was thinking about it when I was walking my dog earlier today, and two energetic colleagues, and they were going in two different directions, and we just weren't getting anywhere basically, and I nearly landed on my face. So basically, I think by dividing the party into different factions, we're undermining the things that we all support. It's a distraction, and I think so. We really need to focus on promoting what we all, the values that we all share, and the values that we have, and that are much more important than to get on with someone that this conflict, like that, I think, and I have done with what we in both the parties, and then many people in the media conflict. Yeah, so I think we all share the frustration that we are not in and I agree with Matt, process to the hands-on first in those directions. I'm in the second house for myself, so I'm here. But there are many specialist groups that have all around the country. We are already embedded in to when we look after separate things with this plan. So so where we can win, where those groups are set up, and doing so, the members do feel that there are hosted, when the group are well placed and then win, that should be now a process formed for them to be able to put that forward as a proposal, and use it that way. I do also, I'm the chair of the organisation Better, who set up the direct want to the progressives other things that the rest is bring things as well. So I do also believe that the being formed electoral practice bring where they can win and being formed because we are facing a really sort of moment about power role. So I'm just yes, I'm just bring but also recognizing how will understand what they want to balance.
Thanks. I mean, I can only build on what lots of the other candidates have said. So where on case by case basis, the local groups decide they think they have the resource, they have the candidate, they have the campaign manager, they have the teams ready to go for it. How do you mobilise and how can you support those where that makes sense? So in terms of mobilising, from my experience of running a campaign in Brighton, Home or Home, I say Home or say so there's a combination of things that you can do. You can run assemblies, you can go door knocking, you can run stalls, you can run events, you need to do publicity, you can develop web content and web presence and social media presence. You're ready to answer emails from constituents to your candidate. So what we're looking for is who in your community has skills that are like that or have other ideas that I've not mentioned. And it's about so mobilizing is about creating that environment where people work something like that. I think there's something about regionally is where finding out where are the local groups that feel that they want to go for it, where does it make sense, where do we need to step on the ball? And then regionally we target those areas and send people to those areas. So members here may go over down the road to another nearby where they want to take it on. So we work together logically across the whole of the membership locally, if that makes sense, regionally. So there's so much to gain from running an election, electoral campaign. You build it's an active thing to be doing, and you're building your relationships by doing that. So it's a really exciting thing to do, and I would encourage people, where possible, to get involved with that. There's nothing like building a party around the things you're doing together, and that's what we achieved in so conference.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, I go back to the argument of So when it comes to making decisions about whether the lecture work, it depends on the strength of the member base. But if I were in a room full of members who were saying, we want to stand our candidates in every single ward in our area, I would say, well, what's your support base? What campaign work is done in that area? Do you know what the issues are that face all the people before your base and what not? What are the other what relations you have with other organised groups in your area? It's not just a question of things to be nice with. Sadly, depends where I'm coming from. We've got Cape Town Council run by reform now. We really do not have the infrastructure or the support base in any part of Kent, I'm afraid, where we could do this type of candidate. There are people who are in the habit of standing as council candidates, and yet who doesn't vote for. I don't think we want to go down that road. It's demoralising. We want to run our campaigns in a way that we and try and some expertise in that area, where you make your campaign for an election part of the building of your stuff. And then you just do your help skeleton of a national organisation. I think it's really kind of doing it, but it's going to be not an organisation. We're not going to do things. Even the branches we do it in the way I'm around and that's the same. The selection process is the same matters. Nonetheless, the parishes again, those of us who are in or run out of otherwise I can read about one. I think most everyone said on the one and we have increased forward and we want everyone else perform and that will look at the government of making sure with our members of our communities we need to be everyone down to watch each area around it and how it works together and respond. We will not have time on that side. So thank you very much. I'm not sure what 3.5 minutes. So we have actually finished this first section 5 minutes early. That is it for the first section. So now we have a 10 minutes coffee, drink and snack break. Please feel free to help yourself at the back. And we will be back at 3:35 for audience questions. Thank you.